Hi, this is Nick Haraz from Creative 111, and today we're going to talk about just starting with text animation in After Effects. As a video editor, when I first went over to After Effects to add text animation, I found the situation quite daunting. It was a lot of steps to be able to add text as well as utilize fundamental principles to create dynamic text animation for both video projects and just standalone MoGraph projects. Here, we're going to take a look at some of the basics of working with text animation. If you're experienced with text animators in After Effects, I totally suggest that you take a look at one of our other videos. They're going to be released in this series, which will go over more complex text treatments. So here I have a composition created. First thing you need to know is that After Effects has a text tool, which you can easily select. And for this shot in particular, I'm going to type in Northern Lights. I want to press Command Return to get out of text entry mode. If you ever need to center align this text, you can go to your line panel and pressing a couple buttons, the align horizontal as well as the align vertical, make sure that that is dead centered on the screen. For now, I'm going to press the V key just to go to my default selection tool and drag my text to the lower left-hand corner of this composition. Under Effects and Presets, I'll quickly do a search for drop to find a drop shadow under the perspective category, which I'll just drag onto my text directly in the composition. In my effect controls, I'll set a larger distance. I'll make sure that there's more softness and that the opacity is brought down to 25%. Usually I like to create an in animation and out animation for my text. To create the in animation, I'll first of all make sure that my current time indicator is in the position of where I want to bring it. If you're new to this, the best place to start out is under Effects and Presets under the Animation Presets category. But wait a second. The problem with this is if you go to the text category, is there's no way to visualize what on earth is going on. If I go to the 3D text and take a look at 3D resolve position, like what on earth does that mean? If I drag it to the text, all right, that's great. My text now rotates around in this 3D resolve position. But I would have no idea of what this does unless I dragged it onto my text. I'm going to press Command Z. Now I can keep on searching over and over again, or with my text selected, again in my position indicator at the beginning of my composition, I can head to the animation menu and browse presets. Adobe Bridge launches. You can head to the text category. I'm going to scale up this window a little bit, and I'm going to head to the animate in category. You'll see here, I see little thumbnails that are representative of what the text animation does. If I single click one of these in the preview window on the right, under the Essentials workspace, I'm able to see what that animation does. I'll click on Fade Upwards. We can see that some of these animations affect the text on a character by character basis. Some of them are word by word basis or even lines. After double click the fade up characters, I notice that my text has disappeared at the beginning of my composition. And if I press the space bar, I have a character by character animation of the text. What is controlling this is two keyframes, and we can access those two keyframes by selecting the text layer and pressing the U key. These two keyframes can be manipulated, i.e. we can grab either one of them. And if I wanted to make this animation longer, I'll drag this to the 3-second mark. If I press the home key, press the space bar, we can see again that now character by character animation is longer, creating a pretty cool animation, which I was able to preview with the help of Adobe Bridge. I'll press Command Z to undo that text animation that was added. Select my text layer, noting where my current time indicator is. This represents where the animation that you apply from Bridge is going to start. Going to Animation, browse presets again. I will head down to that text category and I'll go into blurs. Let's say that you like this evaporate animation. Looks pretty cool. Problem is you want to have it do the opposite. You want to have it evaporate in. If we double click the text, right now what we've ended up with is a out animation. But like we've done before, we can select the text layer, press U. And if we select both keyframes on this layer by clicking on the word offset, to which it's been applied. Both keyframes are selected, and with that we can go to the animation menu, and with the help of our keyframe assistant, reverse these keyframes. In fact, reversing the animation. Now, if I go to the beginning of the timeline, I am able to have this come in. Now, these keyframes work like any other keyframes in After Effects. With the word selected, you can press the function F9 key or F9 just by itself, depending on the keyboard you're on, to create ease in, ease out animation of how this text blurs in. And there's a lot more you can do. Let's say you just want to dig in to see what has been applied to create this animation. Looks like there's a little bit of scaling, a little bit of blurring, as well as an opacity change that's happening on our text. If I press the disclosure triangle here to close out the text and then open it up again, I see that this evaporator animator has been applied to the text with a range selector. These are the properties that are currently involved: scale, opacity, and blur. This text scales in from a higher value. It starts at a 0% opacity, and its blur happens to be 113%. The great part about these animators is that you can add additional properties to them without adding additional keyframes. If I press the play button here, I go to a property, and let's say that I also want to add a bit of rotation at the beginning. I'll have my text rotate from a negative 45-degree angle. And if I move to the beginning of my project and press the space bar, all of my text rotates inward. So that's really it for our text animation this week. I want to hear what you want to learn about in terms of text animation. Leave a comment. Click on the button to subscribe that's right in front of you. And I hope this gives you some insight to get you just up and running to starting with text animation in After Effects. I'm Nick Araz from Creative 111. Thanks for watching.